It just occurred to me that at some point I'm going to need to talk about my relationship, my last one. And I I think I might share his name. I don't want anybody to go attack him or anything. But I before he met me, um he'd been accused of sexually assaulting at least 6 girls, potentially more. I've heard some people that have known him in the past describe it in the in the teens. No, more than 10. So I still don't know if I should share his name. I'm not going to be giving out his address or anything. But if I ever end up bringing him to court, which I don't even think I can because I blocked him on everything, so I don't even have proof that we knew each other at all. I can already hear the thoughts in my head. They're like, you're making this all up. You're insane. He's a good guy. Anyways, um, yeah, he was 17 when I met him. I was 19. He was about a week or so before turning 18. I don't know if we met up before or after his birthday. I forgot. Um, we met on Instagram. I had done a video on kink and trauma and some insights I'd been having regarding that. And he messaged me. We started talking. It became quite clear that he was a sadist. At the time, I knew I had domination urges, but I didn't really have any strong dominant fantasies yet. So I've been much more in touch with my submissive side. There was basically attraction at the start, you know? At least I felt there was. I can't really take anything he says on his word anymore. But I told him at the start that I just gone out of my last relationship. That I wanted to be polyamorous. And that's been something that I've wanted forever. I think it'd be good for me. I think it'd be good for my disorganized attachment. It's good for my abandonment issues because if someone is always there, then I don't have to experience the pressure, expectation of always catering to one person in a relationship and being worried that I'm going to lose them or being worried that I'm doing something wrong. And am I doing something wrong? You know? And also, there's a lot of reasons. Yeah. Here we go. Shit. Yeah. I also don't particularly understand monogamy as a concept. Really don't understand people's need for monogamy whatsoever. I wish I did, and on some level, I kind of do. Like, I know what it's like to be worried someone is gonna love someone else more than you, but I can't relate to the hurt of that, because if someone loved someone more than me, even if I really, really loved them, even if I knew that, the only point at which it started becoming a problem for me is because they're mistreating me. So it would be a case where if I felt they were unavailable or not trying to make things work with me, then them loving another person I really don't care about. I told him I wanted to be polyamorous. I told him I didn't know if we should date because I didn't really know him. Didn't really know him that well. Even though there was obvious chemistry, at least on my end. Don't know about his. And he agreed to being polyamorous. And then he got me a gift, which was a green vase with bones in it, which was kind of the deal breaker for me. And then a few days later, he said something along the lines of, "Do you love me enough to be monogamous with me? Because I'm just worried someone's gonna take you away from me." And I stupidly said yes. We called every night, and it was partly normal conversation, partly just dirty talk. And I don't know if it was mostly the dirty talk, but essentially talking to him was like the most euphoric feeling I've ever had. And he still to this day is the only person I can really go to with some topics. I'm not in contact with him anymore, but I haven't found anyone yet that I can kind of converse with the way that I was with him. So I don't know if it's potentially that he was literally just one of those psychopathic people who can lure you in any way, because that's the way people talk about psychopaths. How do you know you're in a psychopathic relationship with a narcissist? And then they'll always list, they make you feel so special, or they're just perfect. They're always perfect for you somehow. I don't know if any one person can be that for any person. Is that even possible to mimic perfection for another person? But sorry. It was after his birthday. A few weeks passed that we were in my caravan that I had outside my house. And we were doing some, let's see, what is it? Yeah, some BDSM. We were doing some BDSM. That's not really grammatically correct. And before then, we had already been having sex, and he just was not listening to me whatsoever. I had to continuously remind him what foreplay was throughout the entire relationship. and that it lasted more than 10 minutes. God, even 10 minutes would have made a difference. But, it started when first he slapped me. The first time it started getting out of hand, we had started fucking in the caravan, and instead of before we'd been getting hotel rooms, I'd been paying for them. It wasn't just to kind of have sex, and it was mostly because I don't like going on actual physical dates with people and ending up in strange locations and having to talk over the sound of the outside world. I have like hearing issues and shit. Like all sounds are the same volume to me. So I kept getting hotel rooms just so I'd have a place to talk to him in that was quiet enough. And so we could spend the night together, because I didn't see him very often, so I wanted to be able to see him a little bit the next day too. So it started when we first went to caravan together. I didn't know we were even about to fuck. He slapped me across the face, and then grabbed my hair, and he was gonna make me eat his ass, and I started crying because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. He hadn't given me any warning whatsoever. He looked concerned, and I said to him, I want warning if you're going to do something like that to me, so I can like see if I'm even in the mood for something rough or what it is that I'm okay with. If today's the day where I want to be masochistic with you, give me a little bit of agency over what's gonna happen. And I'm pretty sure he agreed to that, and that was reasonable. We didn't do anything more regarding anything like that after. The second time, it wasn't his fault the second time. I'd asked him to choke me, and he choked me so hard that I started crying again, because it was my first time being choked so hard. And I actually enjoyed it that day, because that day I was in a masochistic mood. And being brought to tears that way was a relief for me, because that's why I'm masochistic in the first place, where I let emotions build up in me for so long that it nearly takes someone punching me in the face for me to get them out, and it feels like a relief. And I told him afterwards that I enjoyed it, but I still kind of wanted a heads up if you were going to go harder regarding anything. I don't know if that's too restricting, but I have dommed people before, and that's kind of the way I am with them. So even if I'm doing something simple like hair pulling, if I'm about to up the ante, I'll ask them to give me a signal if it's okay. Like if I'm going to choke them, I'll say I'm going to go harder now. Tap my thigh if I'm going too hard for you. You know? Sorry. And then the third time, um, the third time, I wasn't really enjoying the sex we were having, and I did not enjoy the sex we had at all. There was one time I enjoyed it. Once. I wasn't enjoying it, and I was comfortable enough with him at this point that I was just like, no, I want to keep going. I need something different if this is gonna work for me. And he looked annoyed, because he'd been trying, and I decided I couldn't choose between just using my vibrator or going into little space. And I haven't made a video on why I do age play yet, but I'm probably gonna have to do that. Let's just say I have some pretty good reasons, and they're not me trying to role play pedophilia. It's a trauma response. And he was actually the person who kind of opened my eyes to why I did little space at all. Because we had been on call, I don't know if it was a few days before the incident or after. My memory is very foggy. Where he called me. I said I wanted to bring an altar out around him because we were in the stages where we were getting to know each other. And basically, we weren't dirty talking, we were just talking to begin with. I brought out a male altar, and for whatever reason, I just started rapidly switching. So within the span of like 5 seconds, I went through like 5 different altars. And some of it was mental, although I'm pretty sure he could hear the switching happen as I talked. And then I ended up settling on one of my altars, who I had been doing age play with before this had happened, and it had been sexual. But this particular little of mine, I can't really pinpoint her age. She tended to come out when something NSFW was happening. She tended to be the one that I would go to if I was doing sexual age regression. But she'd always play coy before, like she didn't understand what sex was. Like it was the first time it was happening. And I think that's why I do age play in the first place, is literally so I can just pretend that it's the first time. And I have to regress to a really, really young age to be able to do that. I can't just roleplay that I'm 15 and losing my virginity. It's gotta be younger than that. So, I settled on this altar, and he obviously assumed, because I was in a little space now, it was time to get kind of kinky. So he started leading me through the usual stuff, like daddy talk, stuff like that. But the weird thing was is that this time it seemed like my altar understood fully what was happening. And I may have to cut the video here.